TitleMatchNetwork.com.
Memories of managing Ivan Koloff.
Oh, I managed Ivan in Australia. I had a good time with Ivan. Ivan was the first Russian to come to Australia, and the bad thing was he spoke no Russian.
Right.
And in Australia, it was a very ethnic country. A lot of Poles, a lot of Ukrainians, a lot of Greeks, a lot of Serbs, a lot of Lebanese. So therefore, a lot of people from the Eastern Bloc, they spoke Russian, or they could speak enough Russian, and they would holler and scream at Ivan in Russian, and all Ivan could say was "da" and "dobra."
Right.
But he got over really, really big in Australia. Drew a lot of money with Spiros Arion, the big Greek guy. Did very, very well with him.
Ivan has come out and admitted to having a drinking problem back then. Do you remember that at all?
Oh, yeah. Him, Rip Hawk, and Sweet Hansen got drunk 3 times in one day. We were leaving Brisbane, Australia. We used to be in Brisbane on Wednesday, and then Thursday we would be off. And I meet Ivan, Rip, and Sweet at the airport in Brisbane that morning. They were drunk from the night before.
All right.
We got on the plane and flew back to Sydney. It's about a two and a half hour flight. And by the time they got back to Sydney, they had sobered up a little bit because I had asked Ivan and Rip and Sweet, please let's not drink on the plane, because don't want any trouble.
Right.
So we got back to the city, and I went to my place, and they went to the King's Cross, and they were coming to my house for dinner at around 6 o'clock that evening. So between the time they got off the plane until they got to my house at 6 o'clock in the evening, they had got drunk again. And when they showed up at my place at 6, Rip and Sweet were still walking, carrying Ivan. Huh. And Ivan, thank God, was a lovable drunk.
Right.
He was just a happy-go-lucky guy. So we all had dinner, and I, at the time, I had a penthouse in Sydney. My wife and I were there. And I had an extra bedroom, so I told Ivan, please take the bed and wake up in the morning and we'll go out on the balcony and grab some sun and have a nice breakfast. So we put Ivan to bed, Rip and Sweet left. And but 2 hours later, my wife, she hears some noise. And she said, Gary, something's going on in the bedroom. Did Ivan fall out of the bed or did he fall down or something? I said, I don't know, I'll go look. And I went into the bedroom and Ivan was gone. The next day I see him and Rip and Sweet when I come to the Sydney Rushcutters Bay Stadium, and I said, what happened last night? He said, I met Rip and Sweet and we all got drunk all over again. I got drunk 3 times in one day.
Wow, that's funny. How'd you wind up in Georgia?
Well, Jim Cornette had sold Australia and bought into the Atlanta promotion, and by that time I had been with Jim Cornette off and on for 6 years. And he asked me if I would come to Atlanta to help him with selecting talent and developing talent. So that's how I got that job.
Okay. You once said that you made a mistake by not managing Leon White.
I did.
Why is that?
Well, I was so consumed and tied up with the great Muda that I passed on Leon. I think I could have really helped Leon in a lot of ways. Leon was a very insecure guy, I found out later. Leon had a few problems. He had difficulty dealing with others. I think he had a real lack of confidence in his ability. And I think I could have really helped him become grounded and realize who he is and what he had to offer and what his value was. And I think I could have made him a happier guy. I think a lot of times guys like Sid Vicious and other guys, they're in a situation where everyone's in their ear telling them this and that.
Right.
I think a lot of times it puts them on very unsteady ground. I think I could have grounded Leon White and really helped him a lot.
Who's the smartest man you ever worked with?
Smartest booker or
talent?
Talent. What do you mean by the smartest?
Who pretty much listened to everything you told them and
most all of them. I mean, they had confidence that Gary knew what he was doing and that Gary had their best interest at heart.
Was there ever any jealousy between you and other managers like Cornette, Heyman, or Humperdinck?
No, not at all, because they weren't in my class, and they all knew it.
What are your thoughts on Paul?
Paul Heyman?
Yeah.
I don't really know Paul that well. I only met him just a little bit.
Right.
Just a little bit. I thought he was overly energetic. I think he tried to be more of the show than some of his wrestlers. I always thought that anytime you try to call attention to yourself, you take away from the guys that you're representing. But I guess, as all in all, he was okay.
Did you ever pattern your style as a manager, I guess, after anyone or anything?
Not really. More or less, I tried to present myself in a manner that never took away from the talent I represented. I never wanted to be a Jimmy Hart. I never wanted to be a James Cornette or a guy like Bobby Heenan. I didn't want to be the center of attention. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. It fit that perfectly. But for me, I was more of your laid-back manager. I took care of my business in the office and preparing the guys for the match and the direction we're going. And I would get involved occasionally at ringside if need be, but I never tried to be the show.
Right.
I wanted to be, represent the guy and never try to do anything to take anything away from him. I didn't want him to say, oh, we like this guy, but we hate Gary Hart.
Right.
I wanted them to hate him because I realized he wrestled every night. I didn't. And my job was to present him in the best light and to get him over as best I could. And if I got involved or tried to become the show, then it would just distract from him. So I always tried to be like secondary. I never was, but I never tried to be the show. But by being the guy in the corner, you're going to get recognized and people are going to hate you anyway. So I knew that. So I more or less tried to make sure that the focus was on the piece of talent that I was managing.
Back then, could you make a full-time living in the days of territories as a manager?
Oh, God, yes.
Okay.
See, I never looked at myself as preliminary talent. I always got main event money. If you weren't willing to pay me what you paid the talent I was representing and the talent we was wrestling, I wouldn't come to your territory.
Right.
I always got main event money. I got a share of the purse.
Did the boys back then see managers on a lower tire?
Some managers they did, some managers, because a lot of managers were looked at as guys that pulled legs or passed gimmicks. I steered away from that. My work came from who I picked, how I developed them, how I presented them, who I picked them to work with, what kind of programs I allowed them to be in. But most of it, important, is know when to take them off the main event, drop them down on the card, and get them some wins on TV to reestablish them. So therefore, I wasn't looked at as, a guy that pulled legs. When I managed you, I managed you. Our deal, when I made a deal with a guy, you listen to me and I will make you money. When you're unhappy with me, tell me and we'll part ways. But as long as you're with me, I'm the one that's responsible for the direction. And guys saw that in me early on. And they liked that because they knew if I was taking care of their business, they didn't have to worry about anything but getting to the arena, showing up on time, and having the best match possible.
So not only were you the manager, but you were kind of like a shoot manager as well.
Oh, no, I was a shoot manager. I never managed anyone for the office. I never pulled legs for somebody for a living. If I took you on, then I was your manager and you were expected to listen to me.
Right.
And take my advice. And over a period of time, after I was right enough times, the guys, they would listen to me and know that I had their best interests at heart. Yeah, I wasn't your typical manager that worked for a wrestling office and every guy that came through,
right,
I managed. I didn't do that.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.